guys that drive crappy cars have big dogs. I've always commuted on motorcycles, and for years and years, and I put hundreds of thousands of miles commuting on motorcycles and burning through rear tires on sport bikes, adventure bikes, dirt bikes, cruisers. But I have to say, for the time I've been commuting, the best things that I could have possibly done was pick a scooter to start out with. And if I picked a maxi scooter, I probably could even dark side it. So there's two things that I regret not doing while commuting on a motorcycle. And the one thing is the learning about the dark side earlier, because if I did that, I could have just like bought a rim for my bike and just used I'm gonna have to wait for the bus. Just use the dark side tire to commute on, because that's really what I use most of my bike for. And then on the weekends I would like just ride the hell out of it. But it makes a lot of sense as a commuting bike to have a dark side tire, even though I think they are as good cornering as any other motorcycle tire. But a lot of people don't believe me when I say that, but it doesn't matter. I think I wish I had the dark side thing earlier, and then I got into the scooter life earlier. Scooters are absolutely the best commuting vehicles I've ever had. And a lot of it's not because they're small and nimble. There's a lot that goes into it, but one of the key benefits, as I see it, is the ability of just simply being able to get away with a lot of stupid things, like a lot of douchebaggery, you know, going in between cars, filtering, riding on the sidewalk, parking on the sidewalk. I mean, as a commuter, that's kind of like what you want. But there is the downside of scooters getting stolen, because they are very easy to steal. So, you know, learn from me. You should definitely get a nice lock, maybe even two. Now I use 2 locks to lock all my stuff. And yeah, everybody needs locks when riding scooters, but I think the benefits are really higher than a motorcycle. First, the automatic transmission makes it much easier to ride. You know, you don't have to like shift, and shifting has never been an issue for me. But in this area, this particular area, the DMV is people call the DC area, what happens is that we have a lot of traffic. And as you're seeing this, yeah, there's not a lot of traffic, but that's because of the COVID thing. But if you're in rush hour, you are getting bombarded with cars, and a lot of times you're just going like 10 miles an hour on a good day. It's just bumper to bumper. This is the land of bumper to bumper. You know, like the traffic is horrendous. And what happens is that when you're riding a motorcycle, you have to shift from first to neutral to second to first to second to first to second. Multiply that by, you know, 10,000 times, and thousands by, you know, every single day, and you can kind of see the advantage of a scooter. You know, just a simple like twist and go sort of thing. That is like a really big benefit that a lot of people don't even consider when getting a motorcycle. So another super big benefit is that this scooter gets 90 miles to the gallon, and that's a big deal. Now here's the big downside as I see it. A scooter like this it's a 150cc, so the engine is small. And the problem is, you want a small engine to kind of get away with the highest amount of douchebaggery. But the smaller the engine, the less durable, not unreliable. You know, there's the difference between reliability and durability. Reliability is in the life of the bike, how many problems you're going to get. Durability is how long are you going to be able to keep a bike and be able to have reliable transportation. The problem is with these small engines is that they tend to need some top-end work as the miles accumulate. Now this one is particularly reliable, but the problem is that it's also a very small engine. So I've seen one of these with 70,000 miles, but that's not the norm. All right, let's see if this BMW turns left where you shouldn't be turning left. Yep, like clockwork. This guy, hey, I did that yesterday though. I don't blame him too much. Under the tunnel. Stop sign. Stop signs are really more suggestions. Great economy for scooters. You know, motorcycles, they get decent economy, but to get this sort of economy, you need to get something like an NC700X. And by the way, the NC700X is great just for commuters. But I think a scooter still beats it. Yeah, I think scooters do make a much better choice for commuters. Even like a 250, which is considered kind of like a maxi or midi scooter, they're so much better. And another thing that you should consider as opposed to a motorcycle is just the seating position. That's something that generally people don't think about, but just consider the fact that you sit on this bike like a chair. It's very comfortable, very easy to kind of do your thing here. Very easy to kind of sit. It's very relaxing. These scooters, the small ones, are not as relaxing because they do have worse suspension. Not terrible. I think when it comes to like picking a scooter for your commuting, you want to look into something that's reliable, that's durable, and that they make plenty of parts for. Yeah, I think that's one of the disadvantages of this particular bike. It's that it simply was only made in the United States for a year. So what that means is that if you need parts, they're going to be overly expensive. And the whole point of buying a scooter is to keep it simple and keep it cheap. I would get like a scooter as a commuting vehicle. If I needed a long commute, if I had a long commute on the highway, I would just go with a Honda Silverwing. And the drive system on scooters is just so much better. They use a belt drive and kind of like a weird like oil system in the rear, and it's so much easier to maintain, and it's so much cleaner. When you deal with chains, man, Jesus, those chain breakers, removing sprockets front and rear, it's for the birds. When you get into maxi scooters, you know, the maxi scooter is a much better bike for highway riding if your commute is really big. You can absolutely just pick a maxi scooter as opposed to one of these. This is a small scooter. I would consider up to 200 cc's a small scooter. A 50 cc, of course, is the moped slash scooter. Sometimes you don't even need licenses, motorcycle licenses that is, or plates for a 50. And then anything above that, of course, you need licensing, you need tags, and all of these other things. But for me, it's always been great riding a 50. But I feel that above 100, that's when it feels a little bit safer. It's just like keeping up with traffic and being able to move is so much nicer. And it's not like you're going to get in trouble with the speed of this thing. It's, you know, it's plenty fast, but it's not going to get you in trouble with kind of like a GSX-R. Look at that, snowflakes are falling. On a 50, I would not be very comfortable taking over the middle lane, but on this 150, you can see I'm passing cars, I'm keeping up with cars, I'm actually going faster than them. But on a 50, you have no other choice than to go under the speed limit all the time, and you lose speed going uphill. So any sort of like hill, you lose speed. And tires last a very long time on these scooters. You do not, and by the way, they're cheap. Scooter tires, man, they are cheap as hell, and they're easy to put on the bike. You know, this is probably one of the only bikes that has 16-inch tires. That's almost the same as a Ninja 250. I believe it's, well, it is Ninja 250 territory. So yeah, actually, I put the rear tire I had for my old Ninja 250 on the rear of this thing. That's incredible. But you know, a Ninja 250 you can get for under $1,000, and you couldn't get a SH150 for that price. I don't know why they're more desirable. Of course, these have fuel injection, so they're very, but I'm telling you, man, on paper the price of scooters could be, they do look high, but they are much more usable for a city slicker like me. And I wouldn't hesitate to tour on this bike. I would actually ride it cross country. If I had this in Europe and I was given a choice to pay money for my Africa Twin or this, I'd take this. People make fun of me all the time on my YouTube channel because I ride a scooter. You know, often one of the things I find is whatever bike I have, and people make fun of me. You know, if I have a Ninja 250, everybody assumes I haven't been riding for very long. With a scooter, everybody like talks about my sexuality, but that's just something that stupid people do. You know, they see, oh, this guy has a, you know, a Honda Metropolitan, he's queer, he's gay. There's all of these stupid things that stupid people always latch onto. Guys that drive crappy cars have big dongs. If you're a motorcycle rider, I really recommend you going out and trying out your first scooter. I know it might not be for everybody, and if you live in the middle of Texas, that's probably not the bike for you because you have these really massive highways. But if you live near any city, you're, you know, near any sort of urban environment, and you gotta like go downtown for any reason, like me, a scooter is a much better form of transportation than a motorcycle. But I do like the minivan life. What are you doing, buddy? This guy started like merging onto my lane. Alright, Squids, thanks for riding with me. I really appreciate you listening to me ramble about scooters. I really like scooters. They're amazing little vehicles, and if it wasn't for recently of me getting into the whole scooter life, I don't think I would have gotten into it. But I really recommend it. It's a whole different style of riding. I like that. It's like the Napoleon Dynamite of motorcycling.
If this car drive into a group of gypsy, will there be any damage to the car?
Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.